Hi everyone, welcome to Mixing Like a Pro. This is Dami. Today I want to make a video on how to make groups in Pro Tools and also how to send multiple groups into your mix bus. So join me in Pro Tools as we dive in. Alright, so here we are in Pro Tools. So here is a song with, this is not mixed at all. So you have your bass, kick drum. So all the drums are basically colored in yellow, and then percussion in this green, both acoustic and electric orange, and then keyboard and pads I kind of have different colors for those, and then my vocals are basically in the pink color. All right, so usually my process mix bus or my grouping process is this. I have one bus for the lead vocal, one bus for the BGVs, one bus for all my music, one bus for all the drums, one bus for all the bass, and then percussion as well too. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is let's create multiple buses, and then we're going to decide what to send to those buses. So I'm going to come just right here to the last clip here before my master. So when I do that, all of the buses are going to appear underneath that. So doing that in Pro Tools, you can press Shift Command N, or you can come here to Track and click on New. I'm going to maybe create 8 buses for now. I can change this to stereo, and I want aux. So this is going to be an aux track, not audio track, but you're going to create the aux input. And then we can just, okay, so that's good. I'm just going to color code that for now. Oh, that is too close to the pink. Okay, we're just going to leave it blue. There you go. All right, so let's say I want to grab my drums. I want to send them to a bus. So what I'll do is basically hold on Alt and Shift. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assign this to a bus, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do that. So first of all, let me click on hold Alt. I'm going to hold the Alt and Shift, and then click my output right here. Go to bus, and I'm going to select maybe bus 1 and 2. Bus 1 and 2. So now I'm sending all of these drums to bus 1 and 2. If I play them, you're not going to hear anything. And let's rename the bus to all drums. And I did that by basically right-clicking that and clicking rename. So that's one way to do it. So now I can go back down here. This is the bus. Let me rename this bus and call it all drums to match the bus name. Then I can come here to my bus. Now the input is what you want to select, because I'm sending to the bus. So I want to go to the input of the bus, click on bus right here, and then look for that bus that I just created, which is called all drums. Then I click on it. Now my drums are routed into this bus. So let me go here. I'm going to solo this drum track, and to solo all of them at once instead of individually, I'm just going to click on Command G right here. Command G kind of just to create a group. Now the group is not an additional channel. This is just done right here. Let me show you in Pro Tools. If I open this window here, so this is what I just created. So it's just a way to manage your group. So now if I click on solo, you're not going to hear anything. And why is that? That's because in Pro Tools you have to make sure that this is solo safe. So if I solo this, So if I solo it, you're gonna hear it, but you don't always want to do that. Soloing your individual tracks and having to come solo the drums. So what I'm gonna do is make this solo safe by. You can do that by basically holding on your command and then click, command and click. So if I play the drums now, I can hear the drums. So that's how you send group individual instruments to a specific group. Let's say you are in you're mixing and you want to do this maybe quickly too. I will do this when I'm maybe trying to set up a session like this. Yeah, but let's say maybe let's go to the guitars. Right, say I'm mixing already, I'm already sending this to a bus, but then I'm like, I want to send these two guitars right here. So let's say I want to send them to their own a different bus. So I'm going to show you a way to create a bus now to group things together. So I'm basically going to select, let's select all the guitars actually, not just those two. It's a little bit cleaner. So, and I can make this bigger a little bit. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I should have done that for the other ones. It's clear, it's better. All right, so I've selected them. What I'm going to do now is hold on Alt and Shift again. Then I'm going to click on the output here. The first time we went to the bus area and then chose a bus. But now what I can do is basically come here to new track and click that. Same thing. So new track by default is stereo, aux input, and then the name I can now call this. Let me just call this maybe guitar bus, right there, or group, and then click create. And then here is my guitar group. So you want to do the same thing we did earlier on. You want to make sure you put it in solo safe by clicking command and pressing on that. So now when I solo any of this guitar right here, I can hear that. And I think this is a duplicate actually, so I can maybe delete that. It's basically a duplicate, right? So that's how another easy way to create your bus. So in this case, now I'm going to just maybe give all the buses like some type of color, right? So we've sent the drums. The drums is going somewhere. We've sent our guitars too is now going to this bus right here. Now let's make sure we route other instruments, because if let me play something now, right? What you probably still hear every single thing. It's loud. All right, so what I'm gonna do with this, so we have the piano. I didn't forget about the loop and stuff. I'm gonna get there. So we have piano, pad, organ, and this is to your taste, right? You might want to send piano and strings to another bus, just like we did for the guitar, right? Or you might just want to send all of them to wherever you want to send them to. So in this case, actually, so let's see. Seems like I have some flute. So let's say in this case, this orchestra instruments, strings, cello, violin, I would like to send them to their own individual group. Let's do the same thing here. I'm going to expand it so we can see. So I'll go here pretty easy. New track. And then all strings. I'm going to call it all strings. And then I'm going to, because if I play right now, I'm not going to hear anything, remember? So to hear something, I need to either solo it or I need to put it in solo safe. So now, okay, so I'm going to actually also, I want to just group this by clicking Command G to group strings. So this way I can solo them all at once and mute them. So keep in mind now we've routed this. I'm going to change the color here so we know that this is a group. And then what I'm going to do is don't forget this one right here. So right now we have all of these buses here that have not been, that nothing have been assigned into them. So before that, what I want to do is these buses, I'm going to say, okay, I want one of them. We already have all drums. So I want to create maybe all music. So all of my music is going to come into this bus. The next thing I'm going to do, let me see, maybe all effects. And I kind of learn this bus structure organization from Dave Pensado. That's what he's using. He might have changed it, but that's kind of how I learned my routing when I started. So all bass, all drums. I'm gonna call this maybe all perc as well, and then lead vocals, and then I'm gonna call this all BGVs. I think I can press enter right there. There's still one extra bus left, but I'm gonna show you what we're gonna use that one for. All right, so back to our individual tracks. For the loop, for this percussion right here, this instrument, it's basically the loop. So I'm gonna do is Alt and Shift. I'm gonna make it faster now. I'm gonna call this perc, group or comp. I use that to comp, right? So I'll bring it maybe down here. Solo save it, and then I can also just group all of these guys together and call it, perc right there. I don't always do this like solo, group everything in solo mode like this. No, but just for this example, and we can collapse this a little bit. There you go. So now, let's color code this to, oops, sorry, that's to that blue. So we have a group here. We have the guitar bus here. I think the next thing I want to do is maybe I decide all of this stuff right here. I don't think I need to group them. They're all different instruments. That's kind of pretty loud, right? I think so they're all separate instruments. I don't think grouping them makes sense. But here's what I'm going to do. Now remember what we're doing is we're routing with music. We're taking all of these different tracks and we're sending them into some groups, and then all of these groups we're creating needs to go somewhere, and the final destination is basically the mix bus. That's where I'm routing all of these guys to. Everything really have to go into the mix bus. It's like, the school bus is going, picking children from different places. The final destination is what? The school. So just think of it that way. A bus picking individual children, kids, those are the tracks, and then takes them to school. And sometimes you have different buses that go pick kids. All right, so in this case now, what I want to do is, remember I have my all music right here. So for me, all music means everything except percussion, drums, and bass. That's it. All music means that. So I'm gonna just decide to send all of this track right here to my music bus, because these are melodic instruments. I'm going to send them to my music bus by clicking Alt Shift, hold that, and then come here. So let's basically create. We haven't created a music bus yet. We only created the bus, but we haven't assigned any bus to it. So I'm going to choose 3 and 4. I'm going to right click and then click rename. I'll call this all music and press OK. So now I'm going to come down here, all music, select bus. So I'm going to my input, right? And I'm going to go look for that bus I just sent something to, which is called all music. So right here. And then for all your buses, literally you want to just put them in solo save. So I'm going to do that. So now all of this track basically is going into that music music bus, all music bus. I'm gonna make this small again. So let's see here too. We have this already going into. Okay, there's some type of mismatch here. Okay, so my strings instrument too. Remember, I sent them here, coming to all strings. It's a melodic instrument, so I'm going to send it the output of that into the all music. So I'm gonna go here, look for the all music bus. There you go. So that's going in there. What else? The guitars as well. So my guitars is going into this group, and then this group I need to route it into my all music. So at this point, if I come here now and I mute this all music, if I've done everything correctly, I should not hear any music at all. I should only hear the drums and bass, basically, and maybe vocals. So we've done it correctly. All the music is basically routed. So now the thing that is left is our percussion as well. So we created this perc group here called perc group. I need to assign, I need to send this group right here to my percussion group that we created down below. So I'm gonna come here, maybe I'm gonna choose bus 5 and 6 because that is still empty. And I like to rename because there's no way I'll remember what that bus is. So I'm gonna call this all perc, which is down here. So I'm gonna go to this one and then click on, go to my bus, look for all perc. I'm gonna click on it. So if I mute, maybe everything else, even nothing is routed into this one. So if I mute everything else and I play something, I should hear all the percussion. Well, this aren't routed yet, so but yeah, so the percussion is going. Okay, oh, that's a mistake, right? My guitar, oh, that's good to know. As you can see, this is why we test things sometimes, right? Apparently I didn't route the acoustic to this guitar bus here. So I might actually not do that because the guitar bus is always, your electric is different from your acoustic. So at no point do I really want to process them together. So what should I do? It's a melodic instrument. So I'm actually going to just send it straight into the all music bus. So everything should be routed now, except the bass and vocal. So I'm gonna come here. My bass is a mono track, but when I'm sending it to a bus, I just use maybe a stereo bus. So I'm gonna send this to 7 and 8. Then I'm gonna rename it to call it all bass. It's only one track. In mixing stage, I can decide to change that, but for now, it's one. Just want to unmute this. So now we have all bass right here. So I'm gonna go here, click on the inputs, look for all bass. There you go. It's solo safe. So my bass is routed now as well. I think the last but not the least should be the lead vocal and my background vocals. So my lead vocals right here. So I'm gonna go to the output here, select maybe bus 9 and 10, rename it to lead vocal bus. You can just call it whatever you want to call it, something that you always remember and it's easier to find. So I'm gonna come here. Actually, I'll call this all lead because sometimes you have multiple lead in a song and they're all gonna come into that bus. And this bus is kind of like a channel. I do some processing on there, but not much. So I'm gonna click on lead vocal. So my lead vocal is routed as well. Sometimes as we're doing this, I'm testing. So I'm gonna mute all of this. So the only thing I think I should hear now is just the background vocals. So we're doing good. So now let's take the background vocals and route them as well. So remember, you always have to, if you're selecting multiple at a time, you have to hold Alt and Shift. And let's go. There's actually this group is right here. It's called BGV. So I'm just going to use this bus right there. So then I'll come here and go look for that bus to the input, BGVs. So if I mute this now, this is when you know that your routing is correct. If you don't hear anything, that is good. So everything has been routed correctly. So now we've successfully created some groups to group some tracks in there, and we've now taken those group as well into some type of main group. So this is where we can control all of our music. If it's too loud, we can control all of the effects. Good point here. I don't think we need effect right now because we haven't created any effect channel. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to delete that. We don't need it because effect is not like an instrument. Okay. So now what do we do? Because if I play all of this, right, it's basically going to come out of my left and right speaker, but that's not what I want. So I want to send all of this to the mix bus. So with this channel I have right here, I'm going to call this my mix bus. So what I'm going to do is what then? Let me change the color of the mix bus so it stands out. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to click on all of these main, I'll call them main group at this point, right? And then hold on to Alt and Shift and then go find a bus. So I'm going to create another bus, just use 13 and 14. 13 and 14, I'm going to come now to my mix bus. I'm going to say, hey, these guys are trying to bring all of these tracks to you. How do you want to receive them? Where? So I go to my inputs. This applies to any DAW. I'm just really trying to repeating things so that you get the routing. So I'm going to go to my bus. Now I selected 13 and 14. So I'm going to click 13 and 14. And I'm going to rename it Mix Bus. And as you see, as I renamed it, right, the name also changed on all of this. If I play anything right now, would I hear anything? I would not hear anything. I shouldn't. Okay, well, let me make sure I said that right. Okay, yeah, obviously I will hear anything. But if I was to maybe solo, there you go. So if I was to solo, I'm not going to hear anything. And the reason for that is because this is not in solo safe mode. So I'm going to click on solo safe mode. So when I solo any instrument, I should be able to hear that instrument. So all of a sudden now, if I mute my mix bus, I should not hear anything. So that's the way you want to test it. And then okay, so here, if you want, you can use a lot of this now to, it's kind of acting as your, to basically turn down volume of things that you think is too loud as a whole. Usually I'll keep all of them at 0. That's just me. But you don't have to always do that. You can always come here. That's the reason for creating the buses. And then when I'm mixing, I'm going to do some top-down mixing here, starting from my mix bus, and then I can add some compression on all of the drums here, EQ on the music, and whatever it is that you want to do. So that's basically how you create buses and groups and buses in Pro Tools. So I hope this video was helpful, because this is going to help your workflow, especially when it comes to mixing and organization. is key. And you can see also the use of the color coding here. So it helps me to know, I know the drums, the color code I use for my drums and guitars and all of that, so I can easily find them. And I also know where I place things. All right, so I hope this was a very helpful video. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do. I appreciate your support as you continue to support this channel. I'll be creating more content like this in the future to help you. There's more to come, more content on mixing and production and gear review as well. At least I have, and I think a little bit of gear hardware that I can review, and as well as plugins, especially my favorite plugins, the ones that I use and why I use them. So thank you again. Have a wonderful time recording and making music. Bye bye.